Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is a video series 2, part 3. In part 3 of video series 1, I have shared with you the new time and space definitions and some of their properties and consequences. In this part, I would like to share with you more details. The general time and space definition in the new philosophy series are: time converts the will of individual happiness of each existence to its will of individual efficiency. Space converts the will of group disaster of each existence to its will of group efficiency. On the top part of the joint, time pushes will from quadrant 1 to quadrant 2. On the bottom part of the joint, space pushes will from quadrant 4 to quadrant 3. This joint contains much information on the properties of time and space and their relations. Let me explain a few of them. First, time and space are two universal intrinsic properties of every existence in the universe. Time and space link every existence to the evolution of the universe. The time and space clock of the universe have the highest speed at its start, and it slowed down during the evolution of the universe, and finally dropped to zero at its end. The time and space clocks of the universe impact every existence in the universe. You could see them as a kind of global force that pushes down the speed of the time and space clocks of every existence in the universe. When we talk about the direction of time and space in the universe, we don't mean that time and space are vector in physics, but the slowdown of the time and space clocks of the universe and its suppression on the clocks of everything in the universe. Second, time is related to individualism. It is only for will conversion in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 on the joint. If the individualism of an existence disappears, its time clock becomes invalid. It means that time tells the sequence of an individual existence. Similarly, space is related with group interaction. It is only for will conversion in quadrant 4 and quadrant 3 on the joint. If the group interaction of an existence disappears, its space clock becomes invalid. It means that space tells the sequence of an existence in interaction with its environment. Third, time and space share the same axis of disorder and order. You can see this on the joint. It looks at first instance very strange, but it tells the close relation between the time property and the space property of an existence. Both time and space have a mirrored symmetry. This symmetry is only between the universe and its mirrored universe. I call this symmetry as a super-symmetry. It is the most fundamental symmetry it shapes the cycling of the universe and its mirror universe. In the new theory, every existence has a time clock and a space clock. A time clock has a speed. The space clock has also a speed. The speed of the time clock or space clock of an existence equals to the relative disorder of the existence. The clock speed therefore tells the degrees of disorder or the energy status of the existence. When both the individualism and the group interaction of an existence have a non-zero value, both the time clock and the space clock are valid, and they have the same speed, or they are synchronized. The new definition of clock speeds have practical applications. For instance, it sets two new requirements for the worldwide time reference and the length reference. First, the time reference and the length reference should have the same carry. Second, the carry should have a lowest clock speed. A black hole is the best reference. In the past, the length reference was in Paris, the time reference was in London. This was not good. Nowadays, the frequency of an atomic clock is used as the time reference and the wavelength as the length reference. It meets the first requirement, but the carry of the references doesn't have the lowest clock speed in the universe. According to the new theory, the further improvement of the time and the length references should be in a reduction of its clock speed. This example shows the practical application of the new time and space definition. According to the new clock definition, when the wavebox of an existence moves from right to the left on a joint, you can see from position 1 to position 2, its relative disorder decreases. Its time clock slows down. When the wavebox of the existence moves from left to right on a joint, or from position 2 to position 1, its relative disorder increases. Its time clock speeds up. This simple joint explains the changes in the speed of time clock in physics and in psychology. For instance, the impact of the movement of a satellite on its clock speed, gravitational dilation, and other phenomena of general relativity, the time feeling of someone who concentrates on work, also the time feeling of someone who lies on a beach and does nothing. The impact of the movement of the satellite on its clock speed is simple to explain. When a satellite is in movement, its will of group disaster increases. The faster the satellite moves, the higher its kinetic energy, the higher its disorder, the higher its clock speed. The new theory explains the slowdown of time clock by gravity in two ways. First, the slowdown as a general clock by gravity. The explanation is from the general time definition. The gravity increases the will of group efficiency of the clock, moves the wheel box of the clock from the right to the left on a joint, therefore slow down the clock. Second, the slowdown of an atomic clock by gravity. We need to explain the physics process. First of all, the physics process of the transit from one energy band to another one of the atoms should not be influenced by gravity. It is also required by the equivalency principle of general relativity. The interaction of the gravity with the emitting atoms increase the will of group efficiency of the atoms and moves the wheel box of the atoms from right to the left on a joint. The emitted photon lost more energy to get out of the atom system. The redshift of the photons is measured as the slowdown of the atomic clock. You may note explanation of Einstein on the slowdown of time clock by the gravity. It says that gravity twists the time and space, and the twisted time and space slow down the time clock. The explanation of Einstein is consistent with the first explanation of the new theory on the slowdown of a general clock by the gravity, but it has difficulty to explain the slowdown of an atomic clock because it would mean that gravity would impact the physics law of light emission of the atoms. This is not consistent with the equivalency principle of general relativity. Therefore, the explanation of Einstein is only limited to the impact of the gravity on a general time clock, but not the physics process. It does not have a general meaning. We can simply say that the explanation of Einstein on the impact of gravity on time clock speed is incorrect. General relativity is an equivalent description of the impact of gravity on time clock. As I explained in video series 1, the main carrier of the wheels of living beings is DNA. The DNA of living beings is also the carrier of its clock. It means two things. First, the time clock of living beings is passed from generations to generations by means of DNA. Second, the time clock of every human being is linked back to the origin of life. These have great consequences. For instance, a baby is always energetic and pure regardless spiritual status and age of the parents. The growth and aging of a human being can be described by the change in the clock speed of the human being. The universal wheel conversion law in the new series ensures a similar pattern of growth and aging for all human beings. The drawing at the right shows the movement of the position of the wheel box of a person in his or her whole lifetime. Be careful, the position of the wheel box on the joint are highly exaggerated. They are actually more close to the center on the joint. When a baby grows up, his or her clock slows down. At one point, his or her clock speeds up again. The turning point is the best definition of the mid-age of someone. This simple joint explains many phenomena in one's whole lifetime. In the new series, the clock speed of a human being can be changed by the internal conversion of the four wheels of the human being. For instance, on the left picture, a man concentrates on his work. His wheel of individual happiness is converting into his wheel of individual efficiency. His disorder decreases, his clocks slow down. He feels time passes quickly. The clock speed of a human being can also be changed by the interaction of the human being with the environment. For instance, on the picture right, a girl lies on a beach in a shining day and does nothing. She gets well of individual happiness from the environment. Her disorder increases, her clock speeds up, she feels time pass slowly. In a new series, when the individualism of an existence vanished, the time clock of the existence becomes invalid. Similarly, when the group interaction of an existence vanishes, the space clock of the existence becomes invalid. When both individualism and a group interaction of an existence have a non-zero value, its time clock and space clock are valid and meaningful. The valid time clock and the space clock have the same start and end point. They are synchronized in between the 2 points. Also important is that the time and space clocks of an existence in the universe don't reverse. This slide sets the principles for all cosmology models, also for the black holes and white holes. The universal law of time and space definition in the new philosophy system includes the super-symmetry in time and space. The super-symmetry in time and space is only between the universe and its mirror universe. The super-symmetry in time and space is the most fundamental symmetry. You will see in part 6 of this video series, a symmetry in physics is governed by one of the four wheels of the universe. It means preservation of disorder or order. The supersymmetry in time and space is associated with the wheel conservation law in the new philosophy theory. It doesn't require preservation of disorder or order. That is why it is the most fundamental symmetry. On the joint left, you see the direction of time and space in the universe. It is from right to left, or from disorder to order. On the joint right, you see the direction of time and space in the mirror universe. It is from left to right or from order to disorder. The principles of the universe is valid for both universe and its mirror universe. It includes the supersymmetry in time and space. In the new theory, the clock speed of a system is related to the disorder or the potential energy of a system. The temperature of a system is also an indicator of disorder of the system. It is therefore an indicator of the speed of time clock of the system. When you reduce the temperature of a system, you slow down the clock speed of the system. For instance, when you put the vegetables in a cool box, you slow down their clocks. The end of the universe or the black holes of extremely dark are without disorder. Their time clocks become invalid. Their space clock have a zero speed. I don't know whether a system at a temperature of absolute zero has still disorder or potential energy. If you could reduce the temperature of a system to absolute 0 degree, you may see something that would happen close to the end of the universe. The atomic clock on a satellite today has to be kept at a constant temperature. You could also investigate the relation between the speed of an atomic clock and the temperature of the atomic clock around the absolute 0 degree. With these suggestions, I would like to close part 3 of video series 2. Thank you for your attention.